And I want to go over some of the top scams right now that we're seeing currently at the office. Just recently had a couple of cases of these kinds of scams where we had victims. One lost $16,000 and another lost $90,000. Can you imagine? Look for all of the red flags that are out there. Her name is Kristen Steindorf. She's over there. You want to stand up, Kristen? And she does amazing work. If you don't know her, I'm telling you, she's still working every day, very hard on behalf of everybody in this room, myself included. And she's very familiar with all of these issues and been working on it for a long time. But so she's in my financial crimes division. This also houses the Elder Financial Crimes Unit that works with local law enforcement and prosecutors to prosecute large-scale financial exploitation cases. He also runs the newly formed Elder Abuse Task Force, which we created in my office just in March of this year. And we did that in concert with the Michigan Supreme Court and with 80 professionals from 50 agencies and departments around the state that are advocates for the senior community. How many people here have either heard or had an experience with our system of probate court and guardianships? There are a lot of problems, and there have been task force initiatives in the past where they've come up with recommendations on how to fix problems, but they've never actually followed through with it. Well, that all changes this year.
Thank you.
So let's talk about some of the things, some of our initiatives that we're working on right now. And again, with the Supreme Court and also with a bipartisan coalition of legislators from both chambers. Jeremy is going to co-sponsor every single one of these if he knows what's good with him. Or he's not going to be my favorite senator anymore. First of all, we want to require professional guardians to become certified, including minimum training and professional standards, and that they be bonded. Can you believe that you can be a professional guardian in the state of Michigan and not have to be licensed or certified? Isn't that appalling? So we're going to change that. We are going to change the accounting form filed annually requiring judges to sign an attestation that he or she reviewed it and that it meets the fiduciary standards. We're going to adopt the standard investigation form for vulnerable adult investigations and include training on this for law enforcement, for prosecutors, for adult protective service workers, and the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards Academy, or MCOLS, because we don't have that right now. And remember, for a long time, we didn't have anything like that for domestic violence cases, and they created protocols for that, and it really helped prosecute and make certain that people who were victims of domestic violence were more properly taken care of. It used to be, police would come out and, that's your husband, that's your wife, and nobody gets arrested and nothing happens. And, that really changed because new procedures were put into place. We want to do the same thing with elder abuse, to cut down on elder abuse and make certain that people who engage in that conduct are held accountable. We're going to review the process for emergency petitions for guardianships and conservatorships to require a full hearing with the ward present and medical testimony required. I just read last night, I read a transcript that came out of Macomb County, and I got to tell you, I have seen cases, and I've handled cases where people had traffic tickets where the court spent more time and the attorneys put more attention into the facts of those cases than creating full guardianship, which is the most power you can ever have over an individual. And that includes people who are in prison. People in prison have more rights than people who are wards of a full guardian. You know, it deprives you in many ways of your humanity. And these hearings are being conducted, some of them take, you know, they're 5 minutes long. The people are not even there who are subject to this. And you have no doctor, no medical personnel at all to talk about why it's important that this person even have a guardian in the first place. That's going to change, and it's going to change this year. We are developing statutory basic rights for the family members of the ward, including notice, an opportunity to file pro se motions or motions on their own without an attorney, visitation for family members, so that you can't have a situation where even when a person is given someone besides yourself and they're made a guardian, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to see your mom or dad anymore.
My mom just had a tiny little flu incident, but she retired and was getting weak, and I decided to take her for rehab on doctor's suggestion. Since the day I took my mother to rehab, I've been living with a motto all over the world that says, Free Gene 2016. Then it became Free Gene 2017, and this year it's been Free Gene 2018. Jean is my mother. People ask me, where's your mother? I said, she's incarcerated. Where? Is she in Syria? Is she in Iraq? Is she in Korea? Where is she? I go, she's here in Detroit. How is she incarcerated at 92? Well, she was so-called kidnapped by a probate court that violated every statute and law under guardianship and conservatorship, Michigan court rules and laws, and I know them by heart. Judge Hallmark, number one, delegates all her power to a staff attorney who works in a back room colluding with attorneys, public administrators, and nursing homes to railroad elderly people who have assets only into isolated, demented, terminally ill wards of nursing homes when they're not even sick. My mom didn't have an illness. She was not demented. She had nothing wrong with her. She's been isolated for 2 years, not allowed to see me.
You don't get to see your kid anymore. Why should we do that with our parents or with our family members who are seniors? So we are trying to limit that. That's a very extreme measure. You ought to be a substantial threat to that person if you're going to be deprived of the ability to see them, especially when it's a total stranger telling you you can't see your mom or dad anymore. It's unacceptable, and it's a violation of due process. We're going to make sure that the court has to provide a written opinion as to the reason why a relative is not appropriate for a guardian. If a person has said, I want my son or my daughter or my niece or my nephew to be my guardian, there better be a damn good reason that the judge is not going to go with the person that you decided you wanted to be your guardian. And we need the court to have a mandatory review of that every 6 months. We want to make certain that we review the process of guardian removal of the ward from their house. That should be the last thing that we want to do is take people out of their homes, right? Yes. Nobody wants to leave their home. Nobody wants to go and be placed in a facility. Sometimes it's necessary, but that should be the last course of action, not the first. And so we want to make it so that you have to present the court with a written plan exploring all alternatives to removal and review of the sale of the ward's home and an appraisal that has to be required to accompany any purchase agreement. We think that's incredibly important. Next, we want to limit the number of wards per guardian. Have you heard of these situations? With professional guardians, they have 500 wards? It's not even possible that you could actually have talked to each one of those wards in the time that you need to, and that you have to according to the law. So we want to do something about that. Mandate reporting for financial institutions on suspected fraud and exploitation cases, which they have in other states. Why not here in Michigan? We need to make certain that our financial institutions, that when we put our money into these places, they ought to be making sure that they at least contact law enforcement when they see that somebody is depleting your account. And we are helping to develop local level multidisciplinary teams to address all of these issues. These are some of the initiatives that we're moving forward on. Obviously, I know that if you're here today, it's probably, you already know about a lot of these issues, and you've been waiting a damn long time for your government to care as much as you do. And I will tell you that we are determined at the Michigan Attorney General's office to do anything and everything we can to improve the lives of seniors around the state. And we're not going to be able to do it without your amazing Senator Jeremy Moss, who's going to help us do it. But we know that we're going to make a lot of progress this year, and I really thank you for your time and your patience for having me.